Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Experts, the anti-podcast, and I say that lovingly. What is Meet the Experts? What are you doing here watching this episode? Great question. Meet the Experts is a place where we give business owners, executives, freelancers, anybody, thought leaders, anybody with a product or service to bring to market, we give them a platform to get some video content. We talk about giving somebody a year's worth of video content in a 25 to 30-minute interview, and we strive to do that. Costs you nothing. So if you want to learn how to be a guest on Meet the Experts, you'll just have to stay tuned. Watch this great episode, and at the end, I will tell you exactly how you too can be a future guest on Meet the Experts and talk about the things that you want to talk about to get your products and services out into the world without having to pick up the phone and over critique how bad you are at video for a long time, right? We all do it, but here's a nice easy way to get some video content. Meet the Experts is powered by Journey Builder. Journey Builder is an all-in-one marketing suite of tools and software and a customer relationship manager all rolled up into one fantastic package. We use it to manage the entire guest experience for the show, and we have over 100 clients that are using it on a day-to-day basis to help automate, streamline, and run their business. So with that being said, let's talk about today. Today I have Robbie McCullough. He's on the show. We just had a great chat prior to the interview. Probably continue this. He's down in Texas, which is someplace I'm going very soon. So we had a lot of good talks about that. Robbie is the owner of Assisting Hands Home Care, which is a nationally recognized agency in the senior care space where people can stay in their homes. He's going to tell us all about that and other things that he's doing. So let's go ahead and say hello. Robbie, how are you?
I'm great, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for being a guest today, and I'm excited to learn more about Assisting Hands and, of course, kind of give people the opportunity to learn a little bit more about you. So let's dive right in. So first of all, just tell us a little bit more about Robbie.
Thanks, Jay. So I'm Texan. I didn't get here. I wasn't born here. Got here as fast as I could, we like to say, about age 3. Lived here really 95% of my life. Lived in a couple other states. Went to a school in Waco. Started in 1984. Graduated and started in financial services, life insurance, employee benefits. And I did that in all different levels for about 30 years. Started a business, sold a business, did all that stuff. And then through some corporate restructuring, I was given, let's just say, the opportunity to reassess what I wanted to do. So I spent about 6 months really looking more internally about what I wanted to do, what I was good at, all those kind of dynamics. Things I'd never really done before, which is very interesting. Mm-hmm. So they did a personality test, and the good news is they did find one. But secondly, so what I found, because of what I'd done really, honestly, totally innately, my older sister was born with Down syndrome, and we totally treated her like all the rest of us. When I met my wife, my girlfriend at the time, I told her that, and I said, we treat her just like everybody else. She goes, no, you don't. I go, oh, yeah, we do. And I really think that helped her have a really full, positive life expectancy, made it to 54. And then I also have helped tons of people, started their careers, mentored them, sent them on their way. So what I found out was I'm a caregiver, and I really didn't even think about it, to be totally transparent. So once I understood that, because I looked at 50 different business opportunities, I had the money, energy, and time to do really whatever I wanted pretty much. Then I found out I was a caregiver, and I said, So then I found out there's a business doing that. So I bought one.
I like it.
So that's that kind of weird backstory. I wanted something that fit me, one, and two, while benefits was nice and helping people, is a very, very impersonal business. I was meeting with the C-suite, which I like doing, but no one ever called me up and gave me a hug and said, oh my gosh, thank you for my prescription, my orifice visit copay. That does not happen.
Right.
So I look for something very personal, Well, I certainly got that because we are very personal, very hands-on with our clients. So what's the old saying? Be careful what you wish for. Some days you wish you didn't have that, but it's a great business. It certainly checked those boxes for me. It's very
Awesome.
personal. And actually, in the state of Texas, our licensure is called a personal assistant services agency.
Huh.
We deliver
Okay.
hands-on service. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about some of those services. So, who specifically do you help, and then what do some of those services look like on maybe on a day-to-day or a month-to-month basis?
That's a great question. So 90%, 95% of my clients are seniors above age, probably average age in this mid 70s, early 80s. I've had patients, clients, we call them clients, over 100. And that's becoming more and more commonplace. So it's generally seniors. I do have some adult children with special needs. I've got a new one actually started this week. But more commonly, it's the seniors that just need a little extra help getting through their day with what we call ADLs, activities of daily living. There's 5 big one of those, and there's a bunch of ways to define it. But I say it's the 5 things you and I do every day that we don't think about when we're healthy. But when you get a little sick or you're a little older and need a little extra help, it's 5 things you got to do every day or you're going to have a bad or messy day. That's going to the bathroom, if you get the joke, transferring, moving from here to there, getting dressed, getting fed, and transferring. So those 5. You got to be able to do those every day. And as people decline, they need a little extra help doing that.
Sure.
So that's kind of our core business. But then we also do, we call it instrumental activities of daily living. That's 100 other things. That's running errands, that's cooking, that's cleaning, that's laundry, that's taking doctor's visits, paying bills, things that you do, I do easily, but as folks to begin to decline, they need a little extra help. And we do both of those. So every client's totally different. We come in at near end of life with our hospice partners. Some we catch right as they begin to decline, and we have them for years, and everything in between. Every client's different, and every day is different on top of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think as entrepreneurs, like if we have that entrepreneurial spirit, that entrepreneurial bone in our body, we kind of thrive on that. Would you agree? I mean, I don't like the mundane. Every day is the same routine. Like to me, I get bored and I need to move on from that. Are you the same way?
Totally the case. Every call, literally, I have to switch gears from a call from a referral source, a B2B partner, a community, a client, a caregiver on my team. Every day is different, every minute by minute. So you can't, you're never bored. And the things that we have seen and heard, oh my. So let's just say that it's an interesting experience. We hire on average about 5 or 6 caregivers a week to come on our staff.
Wow.
Every week. It never stops because you never have enough. So, but those sweet caregivers, 95% female, they live a really, honestly, very tough, remote, because they're going out to see the patients. They're not coming to the office every day. So they're isolated. They're seeing people in really, sad, tough, challenging conditions, or they wouldn't be a client. So we found ways to really encourage and motivate them to be good caregivers, but they live they're not doing it for the money because they're not going to make a lot of money doing it. They're doing it because of here. They got the heart to do it.
That's awesome. So I know I kind of didn't talk to, it begs to the question, when you're hired, like, first of all, 5 or 6 a week, I mean, is there some attrition or turnover because people just don't have it, or and then, when you say it's not about the money, it's about the heart, is there some type of test through that hiring process? Is there some type of testing or personality testing where you can really find out this person might be a good caregiver?
Yeah, we've done a little bit of everything. So we've tried testing, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Yes, there's definitely turnover. Our industry is about a 40-50% turnover. We have a lower ratio, but turnover is just an innate thing. Unfortunately, the financial dynamics of this, they make $13, $14, $15 an hour. And because of overtime laws, they almost all, which goes to this again, all have to work at least 2 jobs. just to pay their bills. So it's a tough. So we do a lot to encourage and build those relationships with them for them to stay with us. But they live a tough life. So I'm empathetic to that.
Right.
They still make some silly decisions, but that's a human.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that would be tough. So I think, whatever you do from a company wide to empathize with them and also be able to retain them, right? So those extras that you can give are probably very meaningful.
Right. I do all the benefits coming from that world. I have a medical plan, 401k plan, ancillary benefits. I do all that.
Awesome.
So I try to do everything we can to keep them.
Great.
And they do work. Most of them do work at least 2 jobs because the overtime rules are very specific. After 40 hours with one employer, we have to charge the client overtime, which a lot of clients don't want to do that. So it's a balancing act for sure.
Sure. And with the clients that you work with, is this something that all comes out of pocket, or does insurance pick up any of it? Does Medicare pick up any of it?
Wash, that's actually probably question number later, but that's the one question, honestly, that I get asked the most, maybe the second most, but it's 1 and 1A. We are underneath, we're underneath the umbrella of what across the country is called home health. Now, that global term just means care you get at home.
Okay.
We are on the non-skill side. So we're not doing anything with nurses or doctors or physical therapists. We are the non-skilled component of that. Bathing, dressing, things that a lot of families can do. They can do almost everything we do. They just can't be there 24/7.
Sure.
But I get calls literally every day that confuse us with home health, who are great partners of ours. They're doing PT, physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. But they can only be there maybe an hour a day, every other day. So that leaves 23 other hours they might need our support. So that's why we're partners. We cross over.
Cool. I'll come back to that question at the end when I ask you that, and you can kind of dive in to some of that. But that's awesome. And sorry to jump ahead, but as I was thinking about it, I was like, how do you do that? All right. So look, you don't get to be a successful business if you're not doing things that are successful in your clients' lives, right? Things that are making people happy. I mean, if everything was a failure, you'd end up at a business, right? It's just the way the market works. Right. But has there been a testament, and definitely no names given here, has there been a testimonial or a win that somebody has given to you that it's kind of like, it's just, if when I ask you that question, it jumps to the forefront of your mind. It's like that one thing that keeps you getting up and going every day.
Yeah, I think I've got a good case study for that. I have a client that's been with us for pushing probably 5 years now. Got a referral from a partner, a community partner, independent living, that she was considering moving. And so these are where my worlds collide. This little lady had a nice long-term care policy, which is a great insurance source for what we do because Medicare doesn't pay. We'll talk about that in a second. But I met her. She's been legally blind for about 30 years. She filed her long-term care claim on her own, got declined, was in tears, thought she'd never get it approved. I met with her, did my assessment, and I told her, I said, I will have you approved in 30 days if you work with me. And I did. And she's given me hugs, and she's been with us for 5 years after that. So it's kind of where the two worlds collide. Being an old insurance broker, I know how to handle that, and most of my clients don't because it's complicated. Sure. Long-term care is a very complicated product, but I know how to handle that and work with the insurance company. So that with that alone, she is her only other relatives is her son in Houston, 270 miles away. And she really only owns a really nice condo in Turtle Creek. She was about thinking she would have to give all that up. So that filing, that approval for long-term care has kept her safe and sound in her nice condo looking over Turtle Creek in downtown Dallas for 5 years. Wow. So without that, she would have had to do desperate things. So we've taken her to 50 doctor's visits and all that. But that long-term care policy has kept her safe and sound and aging at home. And that's really big. Yep.
That's so rewarding. So rewarding.
And she still comes and sees us all the time. And if there's $20, she's an old accountant. If there's $20 off on the bill, she still calls us, but we still take care of her.
Right. Of course.
Right.
No, I love that. No,
Right.
see, those are the things. Like I often say, like customer testimonials and wins and those positive reviews and that good word of mouth, like as a business owner, like that fires me up. That fuels me. When somebody sends me something and it says, because I have or use this service, we were able to generate or do this good thing. Like that. I mean, it's like in playing golf, right? You hit that. I hit 100 terrible shots, but I hit that one
shot,
good one, and it's like I'm gonna go back and play golf again, right?
Usually on hole number 18.
Right, usually on hole number 18. You're right. I finally am like, all right, fine.
All right, I'll go back.
Well, cool. So let's talk a little bit about your educational background, whether formal or informal or just self-learned. But how have you earned it, learned it, improved your authority? Maybe titles, certifications, degrees, or not that have gotten you to this place?
That's a great question. So I'm always a learner, always literally almost obsessed with wanting to be an expert in my field. So when I bought this franchise in 2015, before I even opened my doors, you have to file your license and all that stuff. I set for the designation on the screen. It's called a certified senior advisor. Okay. So it's about a 10, 15-year-old entity that out of Colorado, Denver, that certifies folks that they really understand all aspects of aging. It's financial, it's emotional, it's physical, all those dynamics. So, and there's no requirement for that. Nobody mandates that. That's a Robbie thing. I just wanted to really understand what all that meant because I didn't have that background.
Sure.
And so I studied for the test, passed the test, and it's really, really valuable in that almost every day, one aspect, there's 5 big modules. The insurance part was pretty easy with my background, but the other things I had no idea, certainly about the clinical or the health side. Or the emotional side of how aging is such a challenge for that patient, client, and family member, and how you deal with that. And those are tough situations when you got I'm gonna use my family example. My mother-in-law has lived with me for 35 years.
Oh,
do that math in my house. So taking her car keys away was not fun.
right.
Those are really tough conversations. Same thing with my dad. My dad's lived with my sister for about 1.5 years. Those are hard conversations, but at least we have, with that training, a good background on how to make it as positive as possible. But those are challenging situations. So the certified senior advisor gave me a really good foundation for all that. Not that I know everything, but I know when to kid around. I know a little bit about a lot, but not a lot about a little bit. Yeah. So I know when to call in the cavalry. So if you need an elder care attorney to do trust work, or you need a VA specialist, or you need an insurance specialist, or you need somebody on the clinical side, I know who to call.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yep.
No, that's great. I like that. And I too, I'm gearing up for our 100th episode. It's coming up. It's going to come up likely right at the end of the year, and I'm going to do a live one. One of the things that I think I'm going to feature is all of the guests that said, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a sponge for learning. I can't get enough learning. As entrepreneurs, I feel like that is a trait that kind of sets us apart from a lot of people. It's one of the things I've learned by doing this. So many of us, and I too, we can't get enough. Like I want to learn this. I'm going to go learn it, and I'm going to immerse myself in it for a while, and I'm going to know enough about it. But I try not to learn a little bit about a ton of things, because then I ultimately feel like I haven't learned anything. So right. But those things I'm interested in, I do want to kind of understand. So I love it. I'm going to change gears real quick. We've only got 2 more questions left. We're coming to the end, and this has been great. I'm going to change gears, and let's talk a little bit more about you. So you can answer this from a professional standpoint or a personal standpoint. But here's the question. Robbie, tell me something you're truly thankful for.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm 61, so I've got great health. I've got great family. God, I got too many. Do I have to name one?
No, of course not.
No, I've got so much to be thankful for. My faith is number 1. 2 is my family, then my career. I put things in the right order which some days is a challenge, to be perfectly transparent, right? It's not every day. But last year, 2022, was our worst year from a family perspective. I lost a 34-year-old daughter to ketoacidosis. And had we not had our lives in that order and being the patriarch, I totally see why families fall apart. Now, it was a really bad year. I lost a grandkid, actually kind of two. But that's probably the number one thing, is keeping those things in balance while being an entrepreneur, really challenging. So luckily, I've got a great support system. I've got a great family, including brothers and sisters from my dad, wife of 37 years. That's probably the number one thing to be thankful for, and good health. But no parent is ever ready to lose a child, certainly an adult child. And you can never be prepared for that. But had we not had that in that order, I totally see why families fall apart, start pointing fingers, blaming each other. But we managed it. It was very rough. We're 2023 is 1,000% better. I had another grandkid last week. So
Congrats.
Up to number 4, all girls.
Awesome.
I'm not sure exactly what I did wrong as a teenager. I'm getting paid back, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's funny. Sorry for those losses. That's a tough thing, and congratulations on the new one.
There we go. She's beautiful.
I have an 8-year-old girl, and I've asked myself the same thing. I know what I did wrong as a teenager. It was several things, and I am getting paid back. So thank you, God, for that sense of humor. Right. But it's all good. We love her to death, and she's sweet. So congrats on the new grandbaby.
Paisley Grace.
Paisley Grace.
Paisley Grace Bunch. Yep. We need a lot of grace in my family.
Hey, we were just talking about that last night with my daughter, and offering a lot of grace for her and her teacher at school. We were talking about how much grace we need to provide there. One question left. And every website that you see, all right, maybe not everyone, but most websites you see have an FAQ section, because as business owners, we get asked the same questions over and over and over again. And I already jumped the gun a little bit earlier and asked you a question. Right. But what is, and this is your chance to answer it on video, so that when you edit this video later and you take this section and put it up on your website, you have that 24/7 answer to this question. What is the biggie? What's the number one frequently asked question that you get, and how do you answer it?
Great. All right. So I think families, everybody in the clinical environment understands the basics of what we provide, the non-skilled home care, and 95% of the people understand they need it. Our big challenge is how to pay for it. That's our number one sales funnel challenge. So being an old insurance broker, I've done everything I know how to assist families in finding insurance sources to pay for it. Because as an industry, it's still about 90% private pay. And private pay is fine. Now, we have a lot of private, but not everybody can afford that. So the challenge there is that pushes it on the family, generally the oldest daughter, and that becomes a real burden on families. So if I can find a solution to come up with an insurance reimbursement to get the care they know they need, but they may not be able to afford, I find it. So in today's market, there are, I say 3.5, really 4 sources for reimbursement for these private care, non-skilled services. Medicaid, long-term care insurance, which I really briefly mentioned before, but only about 9 to 10% of the people have it. So if somebody's considering buying it, buy it. The VA, shockingly, has 2 great programs, and I help people qualify for that. I love helping veterans. They've already paid for it with their service. They have 2 great programs. I've qualified my mother-in-law for one. Really good programs, the best actually from insurance. And then the 4th one is these new Medicare Advantage plans are paying for my services. Not traditional Medicare today, but these Medicare Advantage plans, which are the insurance-based, Blue Cross, Aetna, United, Cigna, WellPay, whoever. They are now reimbursing us because they recognize, even those mean old insurance companies, they recognize if somebody falls and goes to the hospital, when they get home, they're going to need help. And they're going to need help with their meds. They're going to need help bathing, dressing, feeding. If they don't, they're going to be right back in the hospital. And no one wins that. So Medicaid, long-term care insurance, 2 VA programs, and Medicare Advantage plans. I think eventually Medicare stodgy old Medicare will pay for our stuff eventually, maybe another 5 years. But the fact that they allow these Medicare Advantage plans, these insurance-based programs, which, by the way, now are 50% of over seniors have Medicare Advantage plans versus traditional Medicare.
Wow.
That's amazing considering they've only been around 20 years, roughly.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to keep growing for a lot of reasons. I can do a whole program on that. So there's those 4 insurance. So I always try to find insurance reimbursement to help these families, because at the end of the day, most families know they need us. They just can't always afford us.
Okay.
And the spirit, I'm going to wrap this up with the spirit of what we provide. So, grandma falls down, goes to the hospital, comes home. Usually the older adult daughter is the caregiver, the primary home caregiver. So if we come in, even if it's once a week, twice a week, if we do our job right, we will facilitate that adult caregiver, maybe a little respite one a week, whatever, to keep her healthy. And then for at least a couple of days, we will be able to return her to her rightful role as a daughter and mother, or where grandma, whatever it is, versus being 100% caregiving. Because that caregiving role is so hard. It's emotional, it's physical, it's all that. So if we can give them just a little respite, a little break from that, that way they can enjoy that senior versus worried about 100 other things. That's the emotional side that we bring. And I've had so many people hug on me and say, thank you for giving me a break, even if it's once or twice a week. Sure. That emotional respite really is valuable. That's the spirit of what we do.
We couldn't finish that on a better note. That was really, really great. Listen, if you want to get in touch with Robbie and learn more, his email's at the bottom, rmccullough@assistinghands.com, or, yeah, it's long, but it's okay. You got it. You've seen it scroll the whole time. Or go to assistinghands.com/Preston Hollow, which is his location. Robbie, thanks again for being on the show today. It's been great having you. What a great interview. I learned a lot.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate your hospitality very much.
All right. Take care.
You bet.
All right. Very, very cool. Lots of stuff in that senior care market. I didn't know there was a difference between essential, non-essential, or like clinical, non-clinical. I said essential. I didn't mean to say essential. I meant like skilled, non-skilled, right? And that's something you learn something new every day. And that's why I continue to do this show. A lot of times there's a little bit of a selfish part of me where I'm like, I'm learning so much about the world and different industries by doing this. And I love that. But I really, at the end of the day, I'm happy that I'm able to give people like Robbie a nice video that he can then use in getting his message out to the masses. So love that. Love doing what I do. And I mentioned at the beginning, if you watch the episode, that at the end, I tell you how you too could be a guest on Meet the Experts. So here we go. If you would like to be a future guest on Meet the Experts, visit www.meettheexpertspodcast.com. It's a little bit long as well, but Meet the Experts with an S, podcast.com. Read all about it, learn everything that there is to do, fill out the form. It's a free episode. If you need help editing the video on the back end, you let us know. We have packages available for that, so that we can help you get it out onto your social media channels, out on your website, or into emails, or however you want to use it for your marketing. We can help you with all that on the back end, but the recording and the final videos completely no cost to you as the guest. So looking forward to head on over there and seeing some new submissions come in. Very easy process. So with that being said, we have only a few more episodes left until our 100th episode, which is going to be live, and we're going to do a best of. We're going to take some clips of things that have kind of changed my perspective and moved me over the last 3 years that we've been working on this. This year has been the biggest growth of Meet the Experts. I think we've done close to 50 episodes so far this year. It's been amazing. Couldn't do it without my great team. Anyway, stay tuned, follow us, and keep your eyes out for that. But any chance you get, watch another episode. I hope you'll learn as much as I have. And until the next episode, take care, be good to one